The following is a presentation of the Belichick Sports Media Network.
You're listening to the Sports Scramble podcast, where four friends serve up a weekly plate of sports with a side of SEC bias. Now, here are your hosts, Chet, Jacob, Wade, and Tyler.
Let's go!
Welcome in, everybody, to this week's episode of the Sports Scramble podcast, brought to you by Belichick Sports. I'm your host, Chet. We've got a full slate, full batters lineup, everything, the terms with Wade, Jacob, and Tyler all on there. If you're watching on YouTube, you can see all their wonderful faces. You can hit that subscribe button, leave us a comment with your best pick for upsets this week, because there's not many, and we've spent about 15 minutes trying to figure it out before the show. But nonetheless, we had a wonderful sports weekend, plenty of stuff to talk about. So how y'all doing? It was a good weekend?
Yeah, better weekend than last weekend outside of, fantasy football.
At least LSU won for us, Tyler. That's all that matters.
That's all that matters.
Jacob's never losing in fantasy football, but his Patriots suck, and they'll continue to lose for the rest of the season.
Which one would you rather have, Jacob? Real life success?
I think you would rather
fantasy success.
Well, fantasy success is paying this year, so
True.
I don't know.
It's not like you're an investor in the Patriots.
That's true.
Yeah, I mean, I could just if we were doing I think you're in one, Wade, where it's just like a very long draft and it's just like an endless cycle of players.
Dynasty league?
Yeah, dynasty league.
Oh.
Couldn't think of the word. But I would. Maybe I just invest in the Patriots and just
Yeah, well, I did that with the Bengals, and let me tell you, it did not pay off until this week, but miraculously, I'm 4-1 in that dynasty league. The Bengals are back, so it's looking pretty good for me too. But yeah, you seem to have a grip on our league.
You were kind of scaring me.
I wonder where you got all that advice.
Hey, I almost put up 200 this week.
Hey, now.
Old Jetta's got hurt.
They're taking credit for my.
I am taking credit. I gotta put my fantasy football corner out there.
Yeah, I mean, Jacob, you're beating Tyler by 100 points right now. 103 points to be exact, and that's how it'll end. It looks like, because nobody, unless Carlson scores 103 points for you, Tyler. The Raiders kick on every possession, and he's making 100-yarders. I think
just kick a 100-yard field goal every.
Or they, put him in at running back or something. I heard the guy's ridiculously fast, and should be starting over Josh Jacobs at this point.
He's actually playing his brother, the Green Bay kicker.
It is the Carlson Bowl.
It's the first ever matchup between brothers in the NFL that are kickers. So
I think it might as well
news
be
there.
Matchup.
Hey, wait till the NFL gets their hands on it. They'll make Jason Kelsey and Travis kick off, next week or something, just to say.
Well, Taylor Swift may not be in attendance, because who the hell wants to go to Minnesota? I mean, am I being real? First week she's not there, and Kelsey gets hurt. I saw a meme. It was from her "You Belong With Me" video, where she holds up a sign that says "You okay?" and it was like Taylor from her box to Travis holding up the sign asking if he was okay, but he seemed to be fine because he went out there and played on the last snap, and the good old Chiefs got one again. I don't think that was surprising to anybody. Against what are they, 1-4 now? The
tankathon is on for the Vikings. You got to think that they might just tear it down, and you just hope that Jefferson's a part of that rebuild.
They get Marvin Harrison Jr. paired up with Jordan Addison and Jay Jettas, and they still can't win games, and somebody just needs to get
They don't
fired.
need receivers. They need
defense.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, I mean, if they're up there in the top 3 picks, I can promise you it's not going to be Marvin Harrison. It's going to be, I'd say they take a quarterback.
They'll take a quarterback if they're in the top 3, but if they don't and they're just kind of mediocre, they really need to build that defense and maybe trade Kirk Cousins anyways to get a second, maybe like a second or a third round pick out of them. Probably not at this point. Probably like a third or a fourth.
Who are we talking that's draft eligible? So you got Caleb Williams. I don't think he's making it past number 1, right? Drake May, that's potential.
Michael
Jay
Penix.
Daniels.
Oh,
Michael
Yeah,
Penix.
Jaden Daniels, Michael Penix.
I don't think Jaden Daniels is a top
Bo Nix.
fan. Bo Nix. It's a very heavy quarterback.
It is a
class.
very good quarterback draft class.
if you don't have a first round pick, you're screwed.
DJ, you got a Fufa?
Ngolongole.
Yeah, him. Who else?
Sam
we
Hartman?
talking? Sam Hartman,
Yeah.
Spencer Rattler.
Quinn Ewers, probably the third
Mhm.
overall pick.
What's his name at Oklahoma? He's
Dylan
Gabriel.
he's a fifth-year senior.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
as long as
shaping
his
up to
knee
be as
stays
good as
intact.
the 2020 draft class, where Burrow kind of came out of nowhere and became the number one pick. And then you had guys behind him like Jordan Love, who's now getting his shot. And let's see who else. Herbert and Tungavailoa were all in that class too. So, it's been a little bit since we've seen 4 potential first-round picks. So the Vikings would really want to cash in on that opportunity while the talent's hot.
I'm wondering if you're the Atlanta Falcons and your season is trash this year, like if it continues the way it's going, do you hold out that Desmond Ridder is eventually going to figure it out, or do you take a young quarterback? What do
You can
think?
rock with them all year, but again, all those guys we mentioned have had better college careers and are projected to be better pros than him. So the leash is short for him. The leash is short for Sam Howell. It might be a little bit longer for Jordan Love, but all these young guys that have kind of walked into starting positions, I mean, they're competing for their job every day because of the talent that we're going to see in this draft.
Tyler, what do you think? You think you're rolling with Desmond Ridder? I know you're a big Falcons fan.
Yeah, such a big Falcons fan. 28-3. Anytime I can say it. But
You
the way
can't
that
say
this
that.
division is set up, I just feel like they are just gonna fall behind with Desmond Ritter. Ever since they got rid of Matt Ryan, so I don't think that you necessarily have to tank these top quarterbacks. I think that one of the top quarterbacks will probably fall to the top in the second round. But I just don't think that Desmond Ritter is their guy. They had Marcus Mariota last year. That didn't work out. So in the past few games last season, they put in Desmond Ritters. But there's a lot of offensive talent. You have Drake London, Kyle Pitts. We're just waiting for him to do something.
Me too, buddy. Me too.
And then the defense, is pretty good as well. So I think that there's some young talent on the defense, but they just had that franchise quarterback to really put them ahead of other teams in this division.
Well, let's talk about a young quarterback that's on Jacob's mind. It's in his heart, and he doesn't want to let him go. Mac Jones. Jacob, is Mackie Mac the future of the Patriots? Are you ready to see Zappy after that walloping of a loss to the New Orleans Saints, number 1 team in the league? New Orleans Saints, maybe number 2 behind the 49ers. Number 1 defense, number 1 offense. Derek Carr's the best. Just absolutely destroyed the Patriots. So, all right, I'll stop now. What do you think about the Mac attack?
Well, first, before we get to that, Tyler, you cannot bring up 28-3.
Why not?
You have no right to bring up 28-3. You guys beat the Patriots for the first time in how many years? And you're bringing up 28.
And what was it? 34-0?
Yeah, 34.
Yeah, what new score you want? You want 34?
Not even the same
You want your
football
quarterback
team.
sucks, and you're going to be the worst team in the NFL?
Well, it's not the same football team. So
Let me
it's
tell you, the
completely-
movie 80 for Brady glorified the 28-3 game. That was just
they-
priceless. It was
I was
great.
sitting next to a lady that was watching that on the airplane.
That's where I
was
watched
like,
it. It's airplane television, baby.
I was like, "What are you watching?" And I kind of was like, just looking over her shoulder, and I was like, "Oh, this is actually kind of interesting." So I might have to check it out.
Yeah, next time you're on a flight, it's a good hour and a half flick to put on.
Well,
So
as far as,
is Mac Jones taking flights elsewhere besides New England?
I don't know. I just think Mac Jones. I mean, Tyler and I talked about it a little bit, and it was kind of the scenario that I think he was thrown into that role too quick. Of course, Belichick and Saban are buddies, and
Oh yeah,
he drafted Mac, and Mac was like an immediate plug and play starter for the Patriots, and I don't think in a lot of people's minds in Foxborough he was a plug and play starter by any means, and I think a lot of people still wish we had Garoppolo around in order for like times like
y'all
this.
would be sitting
And
pretty.
so there's scenarios there where like Zappy's a good quarterback, but he's a system backup quarterback. That's what he is. It's just he doesn't I don't see him thriving in that offense. Like from college to pro, he had to change his offense style so much. Coming from Western Kentucky, where you just air it out nonstop, to the Patriots in a very typical pro style offense, it's completely different. As far as getting a new quarterback, I think that's what they need to do. They need to go and draft a quarterback this next draft. You can probably put Will Greer on the trade block or just
Oh.
let him go.
That's a name.
That's just a spot where I don't understand why we're carrying Will Greer
Well,
right
because
now.
his brother's really famous. He's like
Yeah.
some TikTok star. Or I don't know if he's still TikTok. Wasn't he a Vine guy? Wasn't what was his name?
He was pretty famous when he was at West Virginia.
No, but not Will. It's his brother.
News break: Atlanta just took the lead 5-3 over the Phillies, and that's what we get for doing the show during playoff baseball. I'm sorry, but Atlanta Braves take the lead.
There you go. That's what they needed.
Isn't
All
it
right,
fun to
continue,
pull that?
Jacob. I'm sorry.
But I think that they need to draft a quarterback. Who that is, they're not going. I don't think they're going to get that early of a pick. The pick that looks the best to me for the Patriots, I think that they could go after is Drake May. I think that Drake May literally could be
Tom Brady
a future
2.0.
starter for the
Bill
Patriots.
Belichick quarterback.
Yeah, he
But
just
you
looks
think-
like a Bill Belichick quarterback.
Here's a question I asked Tyler earlier. Do you think Bill Belichick will still be the coach next year if they end up with a top
Yes.
10 pick?
Yes.
You know,
They'll
I
never
think-
fire Bill Belichick. The difference is they'll never
Here's
fire
hold
Bill.
on, here's a hot take. Bill Belichick's success is only because of Tom Brady. I mean, has he done
No.
anything since Tom
Somebody
Brady
read
left?
the Fox
That's gonna
graphic over
spin
the
a
weekend.
well.
Did he
Jacob.
do
Yeah.
anything before Tom Brady was there?
I think that
I think
his
it's more than
success-
Mac Jones. I mean, he has like no offensive line. The defense just is not what it was last year. Like the defense last year got so many turnovers. And the first thing I'm doing tomorrow is I am cutting ties with the Patriots. They suck. Their defense cannot create any turnovers. That was the biggest mistake. I should have just went with the Cowboys. Should have just went with the Cowboys defense. I don't know what I was doing. But I think it's more that there's really no wide receivers. Your best wide receiver is Juju Smith-Schuster. If you watch,
who's hurt.
yeah, who's hurt, and then who outside of that? Kendrick Bourne. It's like
Who's hurt?
It's like mid wide receivers. Your
Kayshawn
defense
Boutte,
is-
baby.
You got Kayshawn.
your defense.
Kayshawn
Oh, what,
Boutte.
yeah. Did you see Kayshawn? He was like, "Oh, the defense sucks." Shut up. You're like one of the worst number
You're
sevens to
trash.
come through the program. But so I don't even want to hear. But I mean, you got a running back, a Ramondre Stevenson, but you have an awful offensive line.
They
that's
don't
run
use
behind
them.
them.
Well,
I think that
it's-
there's more
I
problems.
fault
in-
the Patriots. I fault the Patriots for drafting an offensive lineman in the first round with a good draft pick. They go after a guy that had no business being taken in the first, second,
It
third,
was
or
Cyrus
fourth
Torrance,
round.
right?
Freaking Cole Strange is
Oh
their-
wait, my bad. That's
on their offensive
Bills.
line, and I don't understand. There's some things, and I get the Patriots like they're for getting diamonds in the rough in the draft and stuff.
Oh, that's
but like,
Bill Belichick's special.
now it's like just go and get somebody who has proven success. I mean, I don't understand what all that's about. I mean, you have good players. You don't have the Deontay Hightower anymore and all that. And like now you've got people that are just system players and you don't really have anybody on that veteran experience to lean onto. And that's their problem. I mean, you just got JC Jackson back because he decided to screw the Chargers and decided to come back to the Patriots. I don't know why. He probably should have stayed with the Chargers at this point.
Could have been
But-
better off.
I mean, it's things where I don't understand. I mean, one thing that Bill Belichick has mastered not having to pay these guys. Like the Patriots are out no money on most of their players because
Sounds like it
they get
sucks.
all of their players from previous teams on existing contracts, and those teams are paying them to play for the Patriots. So they're looking out when it looks
He's
like
playing
when you
mind
look at
games up
salary cap. But the problem is why are you
Can't
still
win
doing it
games,
if you
though.
don't have a quarterback like Tom Brady anymore? You're not saving any money for anybody. Like that's the part that I don't understand when it comes to the Patriots. But I want to talk about the freaking Giants. The worst team in the NFL is the New York Giants.
Hold on. The New England Patriots are the worst team in the NFL. But continue.
No, God, no. God.
Jacob,
no.
you know the tank is on.
Did we
They're
not
letting
forget that the
other
Panthers
teams-
are
The problem
0-5
is
right now?
even if they do tank,
The
even if
Panthers,
they
the
try to
Panthers.
tank, even if they try to tank, they can't. They won't be able to tank enough to get the
Panthers
The
are worse
division's
off
too
because-
good. Other teams are paying their players, and Bill Belichick doesn't care about special teams. Come on, the tank is on. I mean, he's got the worst kicker and the worst punter in the league. Usually, that's where they're like A+. I just think that that's a little way to like throw a game, with the 25-yard punt every now and then, or a shanked 38-yard field goal. Oh, it was the wind of Foxborough. No, he's trying to
that was
just point
BS,
save a little
man.
bit.
Hey, that big
Lose
scoreboard.
the game.
The new video screen messed up the wind flow through the stadium. Yeah, okay, Bill. Sure.
Yeah, no, they are trying to lose, and they got a bunch of hodgepodge of veterans that don't know how to play football anymore. J.C. Jackson got kicked off the Chargers because he refused to play for them late in a game in a blowout. So, I mean, that Patriots way is just, it's not there. But
Do your
hey,
job.
look, they did it for like
That's
20 years. That's incredible. That's really hard to do. Hats off to the Patriots, but it's clear to me that they're trying to usher in the next wave of players, because how are they going to keep up with Miami this year or Buffalo even? It's just not their year.
Every team goes through cycles, and that's the thing. Everybody goes through cycles. It just so happened that the Patriots cycle was 20 years long before they hit a brick wall. I mean,
And that's incredible.
Miami had Dan Marino, and after Dan Marino was gone, the Miami Dolphins sucked for decades because they thought that freaking Ryan Fitzmagic was going to be the answer to all of their
always is.
Nope.
in Miami.
Answer
So
everything.
I mean, so everybody goes through it. The Bills went through it with their struggles. They never really had a franchise quarterback for quite a while. I mean, they went through Tyrod Taylor.
They also had
I must say,
Fitzmagic.
who is the Bills quarterback before Josh Allen? I can't even.
Tyrod Taylor.
And people are in a fit.
Wasn't
They're
it,
like,
E.J.
how are you giving
Manuel
up
at
on
some point?
Tyrod?
Yes, EJ Manuel was the quarterback at one point, and now he works for ESPN again. So it's like there's like the Bills have had their problems. Of course, the Jets have had problems for decades. I mean,
Yeah,
I don't.
Jets
The
are just
Jets
a
haven't.
cursed franchise.
The Jets haven't won
Unlucky.
anything since Joe Namath, and Joe Namath looks like a wet sock wearing an Alabama jersey, sitting on the freaking set of ESPN. So it's just like it's one of those things where
A wet sock.
every team goes through it. It's just some are longer than others. It's only 5 games for the Patriots. I mean, if they can salvage some part of a season,
Have you seen
it's
that
not like they're
schedule
out of
coming
it.
up?
The funny part is it's not like they're out of it. Like when it comes to the wild card or anything, like it's still open to every team in the NFL. Like that's the thing that's
Yeah,
crazy about it.
It's early. It's early.
I mean, they
We're
played
overrated.
5 really good run defenses too, and we thoroughly expected Ramondre Stevenson to get like 25 to 30 carries a game. That's not going to work against Miami and New Orleans and Dallas. So, maybe when they start to play teams like Vegas and, the teams coming up, they'll just run the ball and it'll at least keep it interesting.
But like, who in their right mind thought that going and getting Ezekiel Elliott was the right choice?
Bill Belichick.
And now
did.
he's apparently their RB1, and Ramondre Stevenson, who was supposed to be their RB1, is now getting less touches per game. That's
It's
the part
probably
that
some
doesn't
sort
make
of
sense to
draft
me.
gimmick to get back at the Cowboys. There's probably some stipulation that if he has like 31 carries on the season, they get a bonus pick or something. I don't know. I'm
This
just
guy.
talking out my butt.
No, that would be a valid point because the Jets have that deal with Aaron Rodgers, and now that won't happen. And I think
Yeah.
the Jets keep their first round pick.
Packers got.
The Packers got fleeced. Is what
Yeah,
happened.
they got fleeced.
Rodgers knew his Achilles was bum. You mentioned teams that have been in a kind of a downward spiral. We got to talk about the Denver Broncos and
Oh, boy.
good old Sean Payton. It's just karma, man.
They
He
suck.
should have known that from living in New Orleans for so long, the voodoo's gonna come back to get you. You leave the Saints
Even
like
up in the
that,
mountains. It's not
you're
scared of
cursed,
altitude.
brother. Exactly. He's cursed. The Broncos suck. Russell Wilson sucks. Their defense sucks.
Sucks.
It's just
Yeah, why come out of retirement for that situation? Like, he was pretty coveted. The Chargers were rumored to be in on him and some other teams.
the
like-
Cowboys at one point. If you'd have waited a year, he probably could have gone to the Cowboys.
yeah,
Making
well,
me
I
more
mean,
money.
what's there other than Russell Wilson, who's
Even
on the
Carolina would
verge
have been a better situation.
He likes
Hey, Wilson's
pumping
going to
on
be
that green.
touring with Ciara before the end of the season. It feels like he's just going to go by. And
Who would be a better quarterback, Russell Wilson or Future right now?
Ain't nobody saving that garbage poverty franchise.
Call up Quavo. Call up Quavo. Have him come play QB for
They're
the
rumored to just completely break it down, which means
Yeah, I mean,
Jerry
just got
Jeudy
a
and
full-on tankathon.
yeah, Cortland Sutton probably all gone.
Jerry Jeudy
I would
gone.
stuck with Drew Lock. They
The
should've stuck with
Bengals
Drew
need to
Lock.
get Samaje Perine back is what they need to do.
Yeah, he's their only bright spot on that team. You mentioned Bengals. Joey B went to 7-Eleven. He found Jamar Chase. He said, "Come on, buddy. We got to remember how to play football." His calf's feeling better. He's making good throws. They just looked in sync.
He
all the
did
way
look
around.
healthy.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, they beat the Cardinals pretty handily. That's kind of what you expect from the Bengals at this point. Everybody was a little shocked at the beginning of the season. And the 49ers, just give them the Super Bowl. I mean, I don't even think we need to play it. Maybe put the 49ers and give me an AFC. I guess you can't count out Patrick Mahomes, right?
It'll probably be
or-
the chefs. Yeah.
Yeah. I think the 49ers made a statement last night, basically just shutting down Dallas. I mean, Brock Purdy, 10-0 as Mr. Irrelevant. Who would have saw that one coming? Trey Lance tried to trade signals like the Astros. That was a jab at the Astros there. Didn't work. I guess they realized, oh, we changed our defense from when you were here, buddy. It's not going to work. And then Wade, your boy Justin Jefferson, tweaked his hammy. So how are you replacing him in fantasy? What do you got going on?
I mean, I still have Devontae Adams. He's a little banged up too, but y'all wanted to go to 1 PPR, so I said screw it and drafted 4 wide receiver ones. Got a little thin at running back, so I did have to give one of them up to get Isaiah Pacheco. But I think between Calvin Ridley and DJ Moore coming off his career night, I feel like I'll be able to piece it together, and I think I'll get Saquon back as well, so I won't have to start one of my middling running backs that maybe should be a backup in the Canadian Football League or something. But
yeah, you were looking pretty rough there for a minute. I tried to offer my services, but you wouldn't take them.
Oh, yes. Let me tell you, I really love Antonio Gibson and Kyle Pitts this time of the year.
Yeah, hey, I tried. Look, Kyle Pitts, he had a great week last week. 18 fantasy points.
Sometimes I think Chet likes Kyle Pitts and Antonio Gibson more than any of us.
I didn't draft Antonio Gibson. I don't know what you're talking
about.
Well,
you finally let your loyalty down.
Yeah. You mentioned what's his name on the Bears? DJ Moore. I mean, like starts off Thursday night, pretty much wins you a game. Tyler, Justin Fields better than Lamar Jackson right now. What do you think?
I mean, it's pretty even the way it's looking right now. I mean, looking off the Bears, I think that the Bears offense, they're sitting at 1-4. DJ Moore, sorry, Wade, that's not going to happen every week. The 52 points. So, I mean, he's going to have,
But he might be able to get me 15.
Yeah, I think that he's starting to get consistency. The Bears coming up, they have the Vikings. I think that Justin Fields is a full-on start this week. DJ Moore is also a full-on start. I think that the Minnesota Vikings, I think that it's probably going to be an offensive shootout between both of those teams. The secondaries have a lot of question marks. But, Lamar, it was a tough matchup against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Pittsburgh and Baltimore, it's always a close game. It's like 10-5 at one point. So Lamar,
that was a score got me waiting to happen.
Yeah, it was like Lamar's had like 2 good games. That one game that I actually benched him that one week. He had like 2 rushing touchdowns and 2 passing touchdowns. But yeah, I think it's pretty even. But Justin Fields so far hasn't been that elite rusher that he was last year. I think he's been more now that he actually has a guy to go to with DJ Moore. So I think it's pretty even.
So Tyler, if you got your fantasy football ready, you mentioned benching and starting. We'll get it going. I'll filibuster here for a second. Jonathan Taylor got paid 3 years. Well, let's hear it, Wade. What's your stat?
Speaking of DJ Moore, he had every single wide receiver catch for the Bears on Thursday night, and only the tight end Cole Kmet was the other Bear to have a reception. I don't think we see guys take over
That's crazy.
The stat chart like that, like they were just locked in on him, and like the Commanders were so bad that they couldn't even stop it. But they weren't even looking to anybody else. Like there was like 5 targets to receivers other than DJ Moore, but none of them were caught.
No, we'll pile on Jacob here later on about his bets with the Commanders taking them to start it, but we'll let it slide for a minute. So Tyler, fantasy football corner starts at 6 of the week. What do you got?
Yep, we're going on to week number 6. We're at the halfway point of the fantasy season almost. So it's time to lock in and get that playoff spot and hopefully compete for a fantasy championship this year. So we are back with the starts in the sits, starting off with the quarterback start of the week. It is Joshua Allen. Coming off of a loss of the Bills, didn't look too hot. The offense got off to a slow start against Jacksonville in London, but nonetheless, he put up 28 fantasy points. So you got to feel good if you're a Josh fantasy owner, and especially with the matchup that he has, the New York Giants down flow. It's a Sunday night game. It's going to be rocking Bills Mafia. It's going to be ready and rolling. I think that
tables are going to be split everywhere.
Yeah, tables are going to be splitting, and I think that Josh Allen is going to have a career day. Would not surprise me if he gets into the 30s here in this projected total. Right now, it's at 24. Would not shock me. I think that with the way that the New York Giants have been looking with Daniel Jones, he's had an MRI on his neck, so don't know if Daniel Jones is going to be ready. Saquon Barkley, he's expected and ready to go this week, but I don't think that's not really going to matter. This probably is not going to be even close of a matchup. So I think that Josh Allen in this offense gets back on track. They're back at home, that they are really going to be cruising against the Giants. So Josh Allen is going to have himself a day against this Giants defense that just can't really stop anybody. They haven't really had much luck this season. So let's go on now to the running back start of the week, and it's going to be Isaiah Pacheco. I think that this is just blaring. You must start him. This is like the absolute must start of the week. He's going up against the Denver Broncos. And if you want to talk about some of the worst defenses in the NFL, the Denver Broncos is it. Isaiah Pacheco, coming off of a game, 55 yards, 16 attempts, a touchdown against the Minnesota Viking defense. It was a good enough game, but I think that he's going to absolutely explode. This game will not even be close. It's Thursday night, so be sure to set your lineups quickly. I think that Isaiah Pacheco, I would even feel confident if you need him to start as be your RB1 this week. I think that he can produce those RB1 numbers. Wouldn't surprise me if he goes over that projected total of 17.9. The Broncos defense hasn't really had any answers so far. So we're all about the matchups here in the starts of the week. So Isaiah Pacheco, I think not only can – what's up?
Where's the game at? Is it in Denver or Kansas
It's in
City?
Arrowhead. This is going to be over by the half.
Okay. Over under how many times they show Taylor Swift versus Isaiah Pacheco attempts, rushing attempts? What do we got?
Well, they're going to probably show Taylor
over
Swift.
Under 10 Isaiah Pacheco high knees per rushing attempt versus 10 Taylor Swift showings on TV.
I take the Swift. I like that one.
Yeah, I'll take the Swift one. I think that though Pacheco is definitely going to find the end zone. I think
Pacheco
that
looks like he's marching on ants, man.
He's going to have a big day in the receiving game and also the running game, so feel confident in starting Pacheco against a very bad Broncos defense. So let's go on now to the wide receiver star of the week, and he's back, Cooper Kupp. If you have him, you've been waiting for him. Puka Nacua, he also had a touchdown, but I think that Cooper Kupp is ready and reloaded. He's back in his role that we're so used to, and he's facing off against the Arizona Cardinals. Just looked at what Jamar Chase was able to do against that secondary. He had over 3 touchdowns. I think that Cooper Kupp, coming off of a game where he doesn't score a touchdown, I think it's a safe bet that he finally finds the end zone. Matthew Stafford, it's like he didn't even really come off of injury. Matthew Stafford was looking to him early and often. So I think that Cooper Kupp going up against the Arizona Cardinals, the Rams are in need of a win coming off loss against the Philadelphia Eagles. So that Cooper Kupp is going to have a monster game against the Cardinals secondary. An offensive shootout. So give me Cooper Kupp for the start of the week at the wide receiver position. Okay, now let's go on to the quarterback sit of the week. And we're going to be going to a rookie here, CJ Stroud, going up against the New Orleans Saints defense. And they're feeling really good about themselves coming off of a shutout against New England. CJ Stroud and the Texans struggled early against the Falcons. The Falcons ended up winning that game. He only threw 1 touchdown, 249 passing yards. So a rough matchup. This one might be more of a defensive game. Both offenses have been struggling as of late. So sit the rookie and wait for a better matchup going up against the Saints defense that is looking really solid these past couple of weeks outside of the Tampa Bay game. Let's go on now to the running back sit of the week, and he's back, Ramondre Stevenson. Yes, I know it's a better matchup, but I just cannot trust the Patriots offense, especially our offensive line has been playing. Ramondre Stevenson is definitely a disappointment of the season. We all thought that he was going to be the RB1, and then Ezekiel Elliott comes in out of nowhere and steals a lot of the carries. So until, this offense can find the end zone, I'm just going to be sitting Ramondre Stevenson. The better match against Vegas, but I just don't think that you can really trust what the Patriots have been putting on the field each and every week, especially against the Cowboys and the Saints. So sit them again this week against the Raiders. Okay, let's go on now to the wide receiver sit of the week, and that is Courtland Sutton. Don't really trust anybody on the Denver Broncos. Jerry Jeudy, he had 11 points, but not really any of the wide receivers on this Denver team is going to put up the points to really win you your fantasy matchup every week. The matchup for Courtland Sutton is definitely tricky this week, going up against the Kansas City Chiefs secondary. That is definitely the improvement of this season. I think that the Kansas City Chiefs defense has also been improving. So coming off a performance, only 1 catch and 13 yards, that was only good enough for 2.3 fantasy points. I don't think that really he even gets close to that 12.5 projected total points. The Broncos offense and that team is just full out of whack. I just think that this is going to be a blowout on Thursday night. So that is the starts and sits of the week heading into week number 6. Good luck in your fantasy matchups, everyone.
Tyler, how do you feel about Zach Moss? Should we start him? I mean, he just went off last week, right? The 35 fantasy points, I think it was. Let me fact check that. Against Tennessee, who has a very good rushing defense. Of course, Jonathan Taylor's back, but he didn't play that much. Zach Moss is taking on Jacksonville. Do you think he's worth a shot?
Yeah, it's tricky to see, if Jonathan Taylor is going to play or not, and if he does, is it going to be like a split carry? But I'm not. I think that we saw the Jacksonville Jaguars really body up the Buffalo Bills. Damon Harris struggled, and also James. So Zach Moss, any of the Indianapolis Colts running backs, I'm not really trusting against a very tough matchup against the Jags defense.
Okay, and another one, free advice from me right here.
Okay.
If you have Garrett
Chet
Wilson,
is on a 3-game win streak.
bench him. Don't start Garrett Wilson. Also, don't buy into the Kyle Pitts hype. I know he had 15 points this week, had like 80 yards, the most he's ever had in his career. Don't buy into it, all right? I'm thinking about it. Don't do it to yourself. Just go ahead and keep him on your bench if you've got Kyle Pitts. Jacob, anything you want to add since you are the fantasy football dominant across the three of us in our current league right now?
I think I want to add that people don't buy into the off-season hype of these players are the best wide receivers and the best quarterbacks in the league. Like, okay, I have Josh Allen and I have Stephon Diggs, but I have others outside of that are producing buku amounts of points, and they aren't close to being really the number one player for their team. So I think it's one of those things where it's like you have to come into like fantasy drafts with an open mind. Like, take what you can and move on. Like, do a little bit of research. Like, I'll be really honest, I didn't do very much
bold
research.
Starting George Pickens. It was very bold starting.
I started George Pickens. I read a little bit into it, but I picked him up last week, and I said, look, he might be a 1 week and done type thing, but I did have Deontay Johnson, who's on IR, so it's a little weird. Even Miles, I have Miles Sanders. Miles Sanders hasn't done anything for me this season, and it's like one of those things.
Drafted him pretty high too,
and I did, yeah. So it's like I've drafted guys 6th, 7th, 8th round, and
that was the one guy I was off. So I'll take that blame.
Way better. I'm doing way better than I thought I was really right now.
Putting up crazy points,
and to be 4-1 after tonight is kind of wild. So
you pretty much essentially had a bye week.
Yeah, Tyler's people were hurt, but Tyler, if they weren't, are you going to put up 160?
No.
Tyler,
My
if
team
I'm
has
you,
only
I'm
put up like
starting,
160 once.
I'm starting Tua over Lamar Jackson. I think from here on out, I think it's time to cut
Tua
ties with
time.
Lamar.
You asked the question if
I'm just cursed with quarterbacks. You know, Kyler Murray last year and Lamar this year. I can't find
Yeah,
one.
you asked
not
the
great.
question if Justin Fields is a better quarterback right now than Lamar Jackson. Answer is yes. He is a better quarterback.
Lamar doesn't
right
have
now.
any help. Like Odell
The
and
wide
Zay Flowers
receivers
is about
literally,
the only option that is, and then Mark Andrews. That's all he's got.
the wide receivers literally can't catch the ball. I
Yeah, they
watched
can't.
a
They
2-minute
didn't help
clip.
him at all. He could have had like 2 or 3 downs, but you know, Baltimore is a
That's
tough
the
team
price
to figure
you
out.
pay. But that's the price you pay being a quarterback in the NFL. You rely on your receivers in order
Yeah,
to
you're
get
right. It
you
might be 2
fantasy
a
points.
time.
So it's one of those things where it's like for Justin Fields, he has DJ Moore, he has Cole Kmet, but like outside of that, like Wade was saying, like they don't really have much. And the thing is they just have to balance run and pass, and their run is Justin Fields. So it's different. I mean, they run a different offense, and right now, like Baltimore's in a very tough division, and I don't think we spent enough time talking about the AFC North because the AFC North is really tough. I mean, the Browns are dead last in the division, but they're 2-3, and they've actually won 2 decent games. So it's one of those where the Steelers just battled through. They were playing at home against the Ravens. The Ravens gave the game to them on a silver platter. So it
Like
that's a
Miami.
coaching thing at that point. I think that's on John Harbaugh. Like at that point, if the decisions that you make and throwing into double or like one-on-one coverage in the end zone against a guy that the Steelers picked in the first round of the draft, like just kind of stupid things to do. And like they rely too much on Lamar's legs too, and you can't do that. Like it's just like if you're make him throw like it, and that's what teams have done. They've brought so much pressure that Lamar can't run out of the pocket.
Yeah, you make him one-dimensional, and that's where his strength is being that mobile quarterback and extending his plays. So we'll see how it plays out. But for the moment, Jacob reigns supreme in our fantasy football league, and I don't see any ending because when you
11 and
have
1, baby.
when
11
you
and
have
1.
Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs, and Travis Kelsey, that three-headed monster, that's putting you up guaranteed probably 75 every week. So that's a pretty good way to start.
Still
One
wait till
week.
last hell did
I
we
still have
let this happen again?
I still have one weakness. My weakness is that I still
Bills bye
cannot
week?
draft a quality running back. I still cannot draft running backs. I don't
That is true.
understand why.
I hope I play you when we get to when the Bills have a bye week. Like Wade just mentioned. That
Tyler gets to play me when all my players are on the week 12 bye.
There you go. Something
I
you're
don't think you should
not,
do that.
something you didn't do great in, Jacob, would be betting with our friends over on Wolf Spreads. That I don't think you understood how the app worked, but I'll get to it in a second. But let's get to building that
I'll be
bankroll.
brutally honest. I
He
did know how
understood.
it worked. I
The objective is
completely
to win
understood
this
the
much
rules of the
money, not
game,
to lose
and
as
I
much money.
absolutely
This isn't golf.
threw. I said I
Okay.
want to go low, so I went real low.
Yeah, you went. We'll get into it. So, building that bankroll, brought to you by our friends over at Wolf Spreads.
It's time for building that bankroll.
Cha-ching is right. Building that bankroll. Like I said, brought to you by our friends over at Wolf Spreads. You can download the app on the Apple App Store or Google Play Store. I think that's what it's called, right? Android Play Store. I don't know. But it's pretty simple, right? You get a $2,000 fantasy bankroll, and you play against your friends. You can join our league. I have it posted on our Twitters. We have an NFL and a NCAA college football league. You get $2,000. It's fantasy money, and in a sense, there's no risk involved, and you place bets to see who comes out on top. So let's start with the NFL. Well, NFL still live. Let's go with our college. We had a few listeners join us in this league. Wade, congratulations! You are currently at the top with a $720 profit. Tyler, you're at second with $153. Wade's lovely bride Elise is at a $7 profit.
She
in
played it
third place.
conservative. One bet.
One bet.
Myself,
in Alabama.
Did she put the whole 2,000 on Alabama?
No,
No.
she bet $7. She bet $10 to win 7 on Alabama.
That's the only bet she placed. Did she not
She-
realize that it resets?
She thought that we had 2,000 for the whole season.
No. So you get 2,000 every week. Myself, I was at negative 743, so not great. My biggest one though was Oklahoma State. Had that money line, so that was great. And then Jacob minus 2,000. Didn't win a single bet. And then in the NFL, it gets a little better, I guess. Tyler 626, good profit there, Tyler. Good job. Wade 511, very nice. I'm at $25. Jacob's at 0, and then Joe, shout out Joe, joined our league, negative 900. So hopefully
Get him
he's
next
not
week,
using that
Joe.
in the- Yeah, get him next week, Joe. But Wolf Spreads free to download. You can bet against us. We want to get as many people involved with this as possible. It's a really fun, simple app to use. Wade mentioned it looks just like DraftKings or Barstool. He thought he was betting away his savings account. Didn't even realize he was using the Wolf Spreads
I
app.
wish I was. Maybe I should use
Yeah,
that
you did pretty
confidence.
well. Yeah. Just take whatever you bet Wolf Spreads, take it over to your DraftKings or your
And divide it by
FanDuel, let it
100.
ride. No, multiply it by 100, Wade. Let it ride. But best bets this week. Let's start with some NFL bets. Tyler, what are you eyeing this week?
I am eyeing the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to cover and almost beat. I'll do +3 against the Detroit Lions. Tampa Bay is fresh. They're coming off of the bye week. The Bake Show, he is feeling great because Oklahoma, Boomer Sooner, just knocked off the upset. So I'm going to go with the Bucks to cover +3 against Detroit. And honestly, on Wolf Spreads, I'm going to just take them to win outright. So if you want to feel that spicy, go ahead. But right now, I'll do +3.
Spicy. All right, sprinkle some cash on it. Wade, who you got for the NFL?
All right. The over-unders have been treating me pretty well, both on Wolf Spreads and in our Building That Bankroll segment. So I'm going to go with the over 46.5 between the Bengals and the Seahawks. These are two pretty good offenses. We saw the Bengals get into a groove. And the Seahawks, they seem to be in their groove as well with Geno Smith. So I see both teams getting in the 20s in this one. So I think it's pretty clear that they'll go over 46.5.
I like it. All right, Futch, time to redeem yourself. What do you got this week for the NFL?
All right, for this week for the NFL, I'm gonna play it kind of weird. The Saints are the 1.5 on the road. I'm gonna pick the Texans to win
That's a
outright
spite
in
pick.
this one.
That's definitely a spite pick.
No,
Yeah.
it's not. It's
Yes,
not
it
a
is.
spite pick. It's not a spite pick. I promise. The Saints are coming off a big win against the Patriots. The issue
An
is
easy
the
win.
Patriots and the Texans are two completely different football teams right now. And I just don't think the Saints defense is able to stop the Texans at home. Tough place to play, and I think it's their opportunity to get back to 500. Both teams 500, kind of shake some things up. So yeah, I mean, the Saints only being 1.5, they're giving the Texans a little bit of respect. I give them enough to win the game.
Okay, Futch just going with the Texans money
I
line.
have to investigate that pick, but okay.
It's a homer pick for me with the Saints and the new team with Houston. So I'm gonna root for points. Everybody wins, right?
Everybody gets a juice box.
Yes.
You get a car.
Shout out Oprah. For my best bet for the NFL, this is a weird line. -5, the 49ers versus the Browns. It doesn't matter if Deshaun Watson is playing or not. Give me the 49ers -5 all day. They probably beat them by 40. Okay. After what they just did to the Cowboys, give me the 49ers spread all day. So college football, we'll mix it up. Futch will go with the -2,000 himself. What do you got in the college game?
Dude,
giving
I'll tell
away
you what,
money.
I just can't win, can I?
Nope.
No, I think as far as college goes, biggest game of the weekend, Oregon on the road at Washington. I'm going
like
to
it.
take Washington to cover the 3 points at home, or the 2.5 at home.
Yep.
So they could win that game by 3. I think Washington deserves a little bit of respect. They definitely are a really good team. And a lot of people are
They're
high
the
on
favorites, right?
They
Yeah.
are.
2.5
They are.
favorite. Yeah.
Yeah, so because they're playing at home, but both of these
Yep,
teams
yep.
really have high-powered offenses, undefeated, and I think the Huskies are just a better football team overall.
This is honestly the Pac-12 championship unfolding in front of our eyes.
Could be a
At
rematch.
2.5 point spread is definitely one you want to hammer. I think it's gonna be a 3-point game there. That's a good pick, Fletch. Maybe you'll just put all 2,000 on it. Tyler, what do you got this week?
I'm going to the ACC. I'm going to go with the North Carolina Tar Heels to cover the 3.5. If you didn't watch what happened to Miami, it was the most bizarre ending that I probably have ever seen. Miami losing to Georgia Tech after Georgia Tech just lost to Bowling Green. Yeah, I've seen enough. Drake May is going to freaking throw for 400 yards and have a day. I think that North Carolina covers easily against the Canes.
I hear that Miami players are protesting because their coach is just absolutely just awful. Wade, what do you got?
I'm going to kick it down to the SEC. I'm going to go with South Carolina covering 2 points at home against Florida. I think the Gamecocks can win by 3, kind of like Jacob had for the Huskies. I think a home field goal is definitely manageable. I think they could win by more than that, though. But
South Carolina.
Hey, I haven't
Is
picked
South
them on
Carolina
building that
favorites here?
bankroll.
Yeah, they are.
2-point favorites. What's the last time if you would have told me South Carolina was 2-point favorites over Florida 10 years ago, I'd have been like, you have lost your dang mind. My bet this week, no shame, Wade, but I still love the Gamecocks. Mine is the USC and Notre Dame game. That's going to be a good one, and I'm going over 63. I think USC is going to score a ton of points, and it's mostly going to be USC. Now that I'm looking at it, Jacob's shaking his head, but I don't know if I trust Jacob's betting advice after last week.
What a guy!
The only praise Jacob gets is in fantasy. I guess.
Yeah, I'm just
You
dogging
just buried
on
this
Jacob.
man.
Have you mind
Put him
that
on a pedestal for fantasy.
Tyler and I have had 11 leg parlays the last 2 weeks, and we have hit.
And it was
10 of
done on the
11.
first game because
And none of them have been hit. None of them have been
10
hit.
of
So
the
I'm not
11
betting with
hit.
you.
11 game parlays are mortgages. You know,
They
they're
really
tough.
are.
No, I think USC's defense is so terrible.
Their
Right?
chance
That
of
Sam
freaking
Hartman's-
pigs flying if one of these parlays are hidden.
Sam Hartman's going to be able to score points. I mean, we know USC's offense is going to put up points with Caleb Williams. So over 63, I could see this being like a 38-35 type of game. So that's our bets for this week. Let us know in the comments who you're riding with. And we get into a fan favorite segment here. Who got that dog in him? Who got that dog in him? Brought to you by our friendly little Halloween dog. If you're watching over on YouTube, as always, we got to keep him on there. I'll start with Jacob. I won't give you any hate for this. Who do you pick for who got that dog in him?
I'm going to the lovely game on Saturday night in Louisville. Jawar Jordan, the running back for Louisville, absolutely had himself a game.
Beasted.
Just
make it
went
Thanksgiving.
off. 21 carries for 143 yards, averaging 6.8 a carry, 2 tutties. I mean, just absolutely ran the ball straight down the throat of Notre Dame. It just made the Notre Dame look silly, and they need intense help. Like it's going to be a rough season. Like I mentioned at the beginning of the season, if they lose another game, I don't think they belong in the top 25. Just my opinion.
I agree. They're frauds.
Well, Tyler and I talked, and I said, at this point in the season, I don't think that any 2-loss team belongs in the top 25 right now. Not saying that you can't make your way back into the top 25. Okay, hear me out. There's two teams in the top 25 that have 2 losses.
Why do you have balloons?
What was that?
Happy birthday, Jacob.
It's not my birthday, but thanks.
If you're watching on
No.
YouTube, it's because you're a clown. This is a clown
Oh.
thing. They got balloons going up in front of you.
Oh, thanks.
Seriously, I didn't
No.
do that. I don't know how that happened.
So LSU and Notre Dame are the only two teams in the top 25 with 2 losses. I just don't feel like right now they should be in that spot that they should be in the top 25. There's other teams outside of the top 25, like Air Force, who's a really good football team that I think should be in the top 25. There's
Wyoming.
more team. Wyoming is another good team. Like, I just think
A&M
that
till this weekend.
at the end of the day, they're going to work their way back into the top 25. Just like right now, they're holding them in the top 25 for sympathy at this point because they don't want them outside of the top 25 because it looks bad. But they're going to work their way back in. It's just that's reality. And it's just, I think right now you need to take it for what it's worth and move them outside of the top 25. Okay, rant's done.
All right. So Louisville's running back. I just saw on my other screen. I have the playback going, and the balloons just popped over your face. That was pretty funny. Tyler, who's your pick for dog of the week?
Man, after that moment, I had to give it to that. But I'm going to go with Dylan Gabriel, Oklahoma quarterback. What was that?
I was going to ask how he even made the balloons pop up on his screen to begin with. What did you do, Jacob?
I have no idea.
I have no idea. I never pressed the button.
I don't know. It must be some celebratory button that I don't know. But I'm going to go with Dylan Gabriel. Definitely surprising about Oklahoma. I think that Oklahoma is a legit football team. He had 285 yards and a touchdown, and he also did on the ground 14 carries, 114 yards, and a touchdown. Gabriel, everyone was talking about how good Texas was. Are they the best team us last week? So I think that OU, after last year, they lost that game 49-0 and turn around and beat them. OU is looking pretty dang good.
I tell you what, Oklahoma and Texas are looking like the two best SEC teams right now, if I'm being honest. And
what do you want, Mr. Balloon Man? What do you want to say?
I don't know, Tyler, but all I got to say is that you were pretty high on Texas.
Oh.
So you were really quick to just throw them right out the back door. Like,
what do you mean? My team has been Washington.
Well, okay, we talked about this. Okay, this is spillover from college football coast to coast.
Okay, come on.
Tyler,
bring it on.
Very high on Texas. You had them inside of your college football playoff.
We didn't even do our college football picks.
We were doing we talked. You had them in your college football. It might have not been.
Yeah, that was after we literally said that we're not going to do it until next week because of this big game of Oklahoma and Texas. But Texas can still be in the college football playoff. They're going to be playing Oklahoma again, the Big 12 championship game. What do you mean? Who else is going to be there? Who else? Give me the team.
Oklahoma is not going to win out. Oklahoma's not going to win out here. How are they going to be able to?
You're looking at a potentially. I think every conference is going to have a one-loss champion. Okay,
Georgia's going to so that's false.
No, Georgia's going to lose to Vanderbilt this week.
What?
You've got one loss.
You got that one figured out.
Let's table this discussion here and let's finish Got That Dog, and then we'll dive right into college football talk. Okay. Let's get Wade's dog of the week, and then we'll discuss Tyler's dog trash Texas pick for the college football.
Hey, the college football talk spills over. We're just like bursting at the seam to talk about it. So yeah, my dog of the week going into the show was going to be DJ Moore, but I kind of feel like that's old news. I'm going to go with some baseball. I'm going to go with Austin Riley, as y'all are blabbing on about, Patriots sucking and whatnot. Austin Riley hit a go-ahead 2-run home run as the Braves looked like they were in complete dismay. And they put that hammer on the Phillies tonight, 4-3. So Philly fan lots, how about that? I just left your page because you're annoying. And Austin Riley got that dog in him for sure.
Game over. Braves won.
They won, yeah.
I suck at Philly. My pick for who got that dog in him is none other than the best quarterback in the nation on a 2-loss team that's ranked inside the top 25. And that's Mr. Jaden Daniels, who accounted for almost 400 yards of offense this weekend, 4 touchdowns. He's done it every week. He is second, I think, to only Michael Penix in passing yards this season.
Yeah.
So
A
suck
guy that I
on
was
that
very
one.
high on coming into
Exactly.
the season.
I
So
think
catching
Penix will
footballs
probably-
means nothing on this show because we had 2 receivers get 180 yards receiving.
I thought
that
one of you would have went with Jamar
Hey,
Chase.
Daniel.
So that's why I didn't go with him.
I was
Nope,
thinking about it.
Jay Daniels'
Just
turn.
broken ribs.
No, he's good. He
Nah.
practiced today.
You don't need no
Daniels,
rib. He a dog.
big time dog.
He
Dog
ain't like
got 8
Sam
ribs.
Bartman, where you
I don't know. The man was
He
on the
puts his
ground, rolling around on the
rib
ground like he was
necklace.
gonna die.
Well, that was a dirty hit. All right. So, but they'll
Okay,
beat
all the people
Penn
that
State
said that,
Nittany Lions any
all
day.
the people that said that Missouri was playing dirty, every freaking down that I watched, I didn't see anything dirty.
Yeah, because you didn't watch the game. You were too
I
busy
did
working
watch
at
the
the
game.
Home Depot.
Mm.
Oh,
No, I wasn't.
no. Jay Daniels deserves to be in the Heisman race. I mean, you look at the numbers; it's simple enough. It's just the LSU defense that's holding them back. But let's get to our college football talk here. Okay, we've been talking about it all night. If you got a pick for Dog of the Week, drop it in the comments. Let's pick up the discussion here. I think there's going to be the potential to have every conference champion with a one loss. I mean,
Yeah.
Georgia is not unbeatable. Okay, they could very easy. They almost lost to Auburn last week or 2 weeks ago.
Their
But they're
schedule,
rounding
though.
into form.
They are rounding into form, but they could lose in the conference championship. What I guess I
Only
worded that
scenario I see
incorrectly.
there is if
I worded that-
Alabama or LSU beats them.
I worded that incorrectly. Maybe not potential one-loss conference champion. I think you have a one-loss team from every conference make it in there. It's going to be Texas and Oklahoma, all right, in the Big 12. I think we all kind of agree on that, right? And I think if Texas
Except for
gets the
Jacob, he
second
thinks
shot-
probably freaking Iowa
K-State?
State's gonna make it.
I think if Texas gets another shot at Oklahoma, I think they take that revenge. You look at the Big Ten, Ohio State, Michigan, and Penn State. They all play each other, and they're all going to play each other twice, right? There's no East and
What?
West in this one, or North and
Yes, there
South,
is.
whatever it is.
They're gonna face
Yes, there is.
Wisconsin,
Damn.
probably.
Big Ten's going to ruin it
For one more year.
Okay, so maybe they'd be undefeated. It'll probably be Michigan, but Penn State's looking pretty well. Ohio State sucks. We're not an Ohio State show. I'll give you that one, Jacob. The ACC, Florida State.
Well, yeah, it's looking like a Florida State runaway, unless North
But
Carolina or Louisville might have to say something about that.
But I got a question. If you have an undefeated Washington or Oregon, an undefeated Pac-12 champion, would you put them in over, throw out a scenario, Georgia, a one-loss Georgia team that didn't win the SEC championship?
Yeah, they'd throw them out.
If they're undefeated, they're in for sure over any one-loss champion, but Georgia's going to go in over a one-loss Big 12 champion or a Big 10 champion.
Yeah, so
The committee has
I think-
shown that they do not give a rat's ass about who wins the conference championship. Like, they really don't. Like, at the end of the day, all they care about is
Yeah,
wins
it's a
and
better
losses.
record.
Yeah.
At the end of the year, all they care about is the record at the end of the season. So, yeah, I mean, Penn State won the Big Ten championship in 2016, and they didn't put them in. So there's scenarios where you've had teams that are one loss make it in over teams that were undefeated, and then that point they're discussing strength of schedule and all that BS. Where, I mean, if Georgia is like you said, if Georgia was in a situation where they were 11-1 and Washington was 12-0, I think they have to put Washington in, because not only would they be undefeated, even if Georgia won the SEC championship at 11-1, I think their strength of schedule wasn't good enough, and Washington's strength of schedule is way above what Georgia's strength of schedule ever would be or is gonna be.
So
Yeah, honestly, college football looks pretty balanced this year. I mean, you got 2 West Coast powerhouses, you got 2 Big 12 powerhouses while they're still in that conference. You got a 3 or 4 teams still in play in the ACC and the Big 10. So, I mean, honestly, we could be talking about which conference champion doesn't get that shot, and it might be the only one that does have a loss, or, you know, a battle of who's the worst of the one-loss conference champions is what we could have. But, I mean, if somebody comes out undefeated in the Pac-12 or the Big 12, I mean, they're going to be right in line with Georgia for that number 1 seed.
Because if it comes down at the end of the day, like, okay, whoever wins the Big Ten is gonna get in. Whoever wins the SEC is gonna get in. Realistically,
LSU? What if it's two loss LSU? What if it's two loss LSU?
It's not a 2-loss LSU. I'm sorry.
What if it's 2-loss LSU?
It's not gonna be, Chet.
What if it's a 3-loss Ole Miss?
What if it's 3-loss Ole Miss?
What if it's a 4-loss A&M? Like,
What if it's a Vanderbilt?
Yeah,
they beat Georgia. They're up top.
8-loss Vanderbilt.
8-loss Vanderbilt.
Well, the thing is, do they take? I mean, if it comes down at the end of the day to Big 12 ACC, who are you gonna take? I mean, like that's my opinion, because I immediately think of Oklahoma, Texas, or like Louisville or Florida State.
What about? Well, I mean, Notre Dame's done, right? I think we would all agree on that. They don't do themselves any favors.
I'm so glad that people can stop talking about Notre Dame being in their college football.
You had them in your bull crap. Don't even give that. You had them in your college football.
I trashed them at the beginning.
So don't even backtrack on just because they have 2 losses. You're gonna be like, oh, I didn't have them in my college football playoff.
I trashed them at the beginning of the season. I trashed them.
Yeah, I do remember Jacob trashing Notre Dame.
And you trashed them, and then I'm literally the week after. College ball coast.
Hey, they looked okay. They looked good. They looked good. They look good. Louisville's better than them now. I mean, they just flat out beat them.
I think we can all agree, though, and maybe my headphones died.
That's asking for a lot between Jacob and Ty.
You're sorry, man. Our back and forth is making your headphones go berserk.
Just having a connection issue.
Best believe Chet's going to keep those AirPods in for the show factor.
Okay, I'm back. I don't know what's going on. My headphones disconnected from my laptop. Trying to get them connected here.
Because they're bouncing back and forth between Jacob and Tyler's voices in your head, and they just went into overdrive.
Exactly. That's exactly what happened. What I was going to ask y'all was, right? It's because you have a more balanced, like you have players leaving SEC schools to go play on the West Coast, East Coast, and the ACC, all of that. And I think this would have been a perfect year for a playoff expansion because it's the most balanced it's going to be. Who knows if it's going to be like this next year? If they got it this year in a playoff expansion, it would have been perfect. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's almost like distributing the talent over 6 conferences with a 12-team playoff is a good idea because you can take the top 2 from every conference. But no, we're now going to go to a model where we're going to take the top 6 SEC teams, the top 4 Big Ten teams, and it's just going to be you're right. We're going to lose that balance and the regional focus, right? You know?
Yeah, I mean, conferences don't matter at this point. I mean, they really don't. Like, once you get to the expansion, they won't matter. Like, making big conferences doesn't make any sense because at the end of the day, who cares what conference you're in? Because as long as you're one of the 12 best teams in the country, you're in. I mean, that's really
well. The only benefit that you have is it'll be a conference champion automatic bid, right? I think this is the power.
Sure.
That is the rule, but the benefit is the money.
Of 2 loss teams and get in.
But here's the deal: you can have a 2. Like, think about that. Like the Big Ten East right now, you have Penn State, Michigan, and Ohio State. So all 3 of them could potentially be in. And if we had been doing the 12-team playoff for the last, let's see, I don't know, 6, 7, 8 years, they would be in. If we have done it, all 3 of those teams would have been in. And that's like an overloaded Big Ten. And that's why they're bringing in UCLA, USC, Washington, Oregon.
Yeah, like the Big Ten sucks.
They don't play
nobody. About to suck anymore.
Like, ooh, Michigan's playing Indiana, Purdue, and all that.
It's not about to suck anymore. It's not going to suck anymore. I mean, you're going to see an absolute overall of what the Big Ten currently is.
A haul into a new conference. That's what is needed. It needs a fresh start to get some competitive teams in there and not have the same 3.
But at the expense of a Pac-12 conference, like Tyler and I talked about this on Coast to Coast, and I made the statement like a team like Washington State. A team like Washington State is a ranked football team right now, and
Win a conference, buddy. Get on.
currently they have no plans to join the Big 12, no plans to join the Big 10 because there's no room left. They're going to have to go to a Group of 5 conference.
Join
at
the
end of day.
ACC. What's wrong with joining the ACC? Just take a
That
cross.
makes no sense, Chet.
Games. They got to
They
join
already had it,
somebody.
Cal and Stanford.
They
so
could
what
have
would
when
be
Stanford did. Stanford and Cal, since they
That
opened
doesn't
the can of
I
worms.
mean, the Big
They're just
12,
gonna have
the
to rename
basketball,
the
they're trying to
conferences.
add Gonzaga.
Can we just
The
rename
Coast
the conferences?
Conference.
Oh, they're gonna have to rename it. I mean,
No, they won't. They didn't do it for the last round of expansion. You're going to have the Atlantic Coast Conference with SMU completely landlocked, playing completely landlocked Louisville. And then you're going to have the Big 10 championship game with 18 teams. And the Big 12, which had 10 teams, but now has, 20? So
the only one that will continue to reign supreme is the Southeastern Conference.
the SEC did it
Every
right.
single team is in the
They did.
southeast of the
Geographically, we don't have to travel from Timbuktu to the Californias.
Well, I mean, the
Think of
travel
this
from
like-
Norman to Gainesville or to Columbia, South Carolina is going to be difficult, but at the core of it, if you lived in Alabama and you wanted to go to half your team's football games, it's about the only conference that you could these days. I mean, the Big 10 is kind of close knit, but now that you're introducing the West Coast travel, that's going to throw it off. But at least the SEC is regionally focused.
So Jacob is like, I don't know what the show on Fox is called, but it's like a political talk show where it's like 4 Republicans and there's 1 Democrat. That's
Five?
Jacob in
The 5?
The 5, yeah. It's us 3 SEC fans and then the 1 Big 10 guy.
Well, it
who's
hurts.
gotta
Like
sit and listen to us.
it's so
You can't
dumb.
say they didn't do it right, though.
I'm not saying
They
I'm
did.
not
We're
bad mouthing the SEC. I'm not talking about the SEC in any stretch of the imagination. Like I'm thinking about the Big 10 and thinking, my God, Pasadena to freaking State College.
Oh,
Like,
yes,
what a
horrible.
great road
That's
trip
a
we
fuck.
got going on there. Like it's
That's
worse.
just stupid. It's
Rutgers
bad.
to
Yeah,
frickin' like
Oregon.
whatever, UCLA or something.
Eugene, Oregon. Like what
Yeah,
are we doing?
going from-
Yeah.
From one side to the other. So, all right, games. We could talk college football expansion and playoffs till we're blue in the face, but that doesn't take away from the fact that we had some games this weekend, some actual good ones. You had LSU beat Missouri. Their defense seemed to get a few stops. Jane Daniels, future Heisman Trophy winner, took over the
Oh,
game. did what
boy.
he does.
What do we got
Uh,
going on?
I'm sorry.
What are we
I'm just
talking
thinking
about
Kenny
here?
Pick, but
Oklahoma in the Red River. I guess it's Red River rivalry, but we're calling it the Red River Shootout. They beat Texas on a last second touchdown. Like I said earlier, I mean, you got honestly they aren't in the SEC yet, but they'd be the top 2 teams in the conference in my opinion right now. With how they've both been playing. I don't know if you saw the Oklahoma players got horns down tattooed on their
Oh,
quads.
that's committed.
But whenever
Yeah.
you look down, though, it's actually
No,
horns
that's
up.
stupid is
Whenever-
what that
it could be horns up and it could be horns down.
Well, Tyler, you should be a tattoo artist because you
You
think
just
about it.
defeated their plan.
Yeah. Bama with a kind of a statement win over.
I tried to tell y'all.
That ain't
I hear-
statement.
Hey,
There ain't no
A&M.
statement in that.
All y'all drinking the Aggie
I'm
Kool-Aid
sorry.
and have
Hold
it
on.
again.
Time out. I misread my notes. Bama figured it out. Georgia had a statement win over Kentucky.
There we go.
I
That's
got
better.
it, Georgia.
I was
51
about to
to
say a
13
6-point win over A&M ain't a statement win. I can tell you that.
Georgia made themselves known that they're the number 1 team in the SEC and in the country. Notre Dame, on the other hand, adios, because Louisville just dropped it on you. Jack Harlow was all over the field in their 33-20 win. Colorado, Shadur Sanders flexed in front of the Arizona State student section after they win.
Congrats. You beat
the
a 1 and
last
5
second
team.
field goal.
Woohoo.
Yeah, I don't think anyone. I think everybody inside Boulder still on the hype train, but everyone outside of Boulder has kind of moved on. We
They'll
realize
probably make a bowl, get
graduation-
lucky, go 6-6. Congrats.
Yeah, you won your 4 games. They play US. No, they already played US.
They're already done with
Who else
them.
they have for
They're
that?
pretty much done with the bulk of their schedule.
Okay, so yeah, they might win a couple more games, but good turnaround from last year. Of course, my Shadur Sanders Heisman bet's not looking great. Haynes King former Texas A&M star,
The
transfers
hero.
to Georgia Tech, the hero. Miami, Mario Cristobal. Is this a fireable offense to run the ball when you can kneel it? Which, granted, the running back was
And
down. I don't care what anybody says.
that wasn't even his first time doing
Shouldn't
it.
have
He did the
happened.
same
He has
crap
never
against
kneeled the
Stanford
ball.
and Oregon. Stanford and
I was
Oregon,
doing
it was the same thing.
I was doing some research. He has never kneeled the ball because he refuses to take negative plays on purpose. It's like, dude, you could take
Well,
the
a negative play is that you're out the playoff consideration.
Yeah, you're the same
It
old
doesn't make any
Miami.
sense. I think they should fire Mario Cristobal just for that. And we should start a service called Clock Management or Clock Consulting. We'll call it the CC Club, where we go around to coaches and say, look, we'll just watch the clock the whole time so you don't have to worry about it. Because in this one case, we could have saved his job telling him, no, do not run the ball, kneel the ball. Also,
It wouldn't have mattered.
Miami's
He was
quarterback-
aware of the clock.
Miami's quarterback should have said, no, coach, we're taking a knee.
He blamed the running back. He said we should have called a timeout
Oh yeah, that'll
and
do so much.
talk
What?
to our team about ball security. So he wanted to stop the clock, take a timeout, and then come out on the field and run the ball. But instead, they just ran the ball, and the running back must have forgotten about ball security. Like, no,
I
take
guess
the knee.
so. He
Oh,
should have
sorry,
just
it was
taken
the
handoff
wind.
and dropped.
The wind knocked the ball out, coach. Sorry.
The explanation was worse than what happened. Like, he had every chance to say, oops, I didn't realize we could have kneeled it out.
up.
But he tried to explain his way out of it. It made it much worse.
Well, here's
I
my
mean,
thing.
Jacob.
Like, is he calling plays for them? Who's their offensive coordinator?
I think
He's not calling the plays, but I would think the head coach has the ultimate say on like game decisions like that, like end of game, if we're going for a field goal, if we're, going for two, those are all head coaching decisions.
I don't know. It's a situation where my brain hurts watching it, and like, I don't think it's a fireable offense.
I think it is. Fire.
Well, only because in my mind it is, but here I go thinking in the minds of the university. They're not going to fire.
Get rid of him for
Another
years.
buyout.
They're just not going to. Yeah, that's
How
what
many
I'm saying.
fans were even impacted by this? Like, Miami has no fans ever since they got rid of the Orange Bowl. That program has been an absolute dump.
Yeah,
Miami kind of sucks.
This was their chance to not be, but here they are.
That place, they use that stadium like they are a used lemon car that they got off of a salvage lot. Like it's terrible. I was going to say something else, but I can't. So,
well, Haynes King and Georgia Tech went in there and upset them, and they get the 24-20 win on the final play, which was a nice throw. Also, Miami's defense. How do you let the one wide receiver get?
Because they already took their pads off.
That's true. They did. Yeah, that's just mind-boggling there. What else do I got? Oh, but there's been a lot of fans storming the field lately, and it hasn't been like huge upsets. Hasn't been upsetting an undefeated number one team. I'm trying to one that comes to mind.
Ole Miss.
Ole Miss beat LSU.
Clemson every week.
Colorado against freaking Colorado State.
How do y'all feel about that? Do you think it needs to stop? Go with.
I get Louisville doing it, but not all the other ones.
Who cares?
I mean,
there's an emotional appeal to college football that, like you can't always quantify it based off who was favored or who's the underdog. Like sometimes you're just at a game and your team's been losing the whole time and it's an emotional win. And, the players want to go out there. I mean, the fans want to go out there with the players. Usually it's led by the college kids. So I get it. But I also think that sometimes if it is a little bit more predetermined, like you've been winning the whole game, you could sit there and think about it like, hey, like we're beating the number 24 team in the country and we're the number 7 team in the country. Is this that big of a deal? Right. Probably not. But it's just, I guess, the raw emotion of the game. And I think that the fines they were supposed to be prohibitive, but clearly not. Money seems to be
it's only
not
the
much
SEC that does it, right? Does any other conference issue a fine?
No, just the SEC, as far as I know.
Yeah, so Missouri got lucky a couple weeks ago because their 10-year rule expired. Neil says let them rush the field. I mean, I'm all for rushing it, but I think it depends on the matchup. Like, wait, I get what you're saying. Your heart gets into it. You're losing. You come back and win. But Colorado and Colorado State, a team that you were a 23-point favorite,
That one makes no sense.
and you win in overtime, dude, just
That's
get the
media.
hell out
That's
of the
media
stadium.
hype. That's media hype, and on top of it, like, okay, fellas, we were all new. Like, we're all pretty much newly out of college. Like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, if we were sitting in the student section and a
Oh, I'd been
large group of and people say we're rushing the field, like, who cares what team it is? Like, and the people are doing it. It's like you have no choice unless you just want to get trampled, or you just do it
Well, now they're
because
starting to hit
who
players.
cares?
That's kind of the issue. It happened this week. I can't remember who it was, but I know last week the LSU. I mean, the dude ran up in front of Jacoby and Guillory, I think is his name. He's like 340 pounds, big old dude. Like hits him and the student, and he turns around and just shoves him like 3 yards down the field. It's like, how can you be that stupid? For one, but and then you got to think about player safety. I don't know. There's a lot.
Yeah,
that
but
goes
they're
into it.
college students too. I mean, like, I don't know. It's not like it's the NFL. Like, if that's the case, then
Yeah.
there's going to be like,
It's going to be 40.
Oh, the NFL is like going to a movie. Like,
yeah,
Yeah.
college football just
going
has
to a
that
theater.
element to it, and I guess other conferences have figured out how to get the players out safely, or they've just embraced it. So I
Well,
truly
Notre
don't
Dame
mind
got
it.
off the field pretty quickly.
I'm surprised by
last
NASCAR Neil's take though, because I remember when he was a equipment manager, he didn't like it that
Hated
we
it.
were storming the
Hated
field
it.
because he had
Hated
to claim every single helmet because people like us would go over there and try to
Steal.
steal sweatbands and helmets and jerseys and microphones. So I'm glad NASCAR Neil's come around now that he's a
This
retired
microphone
manager.
is from when we stormed the field against Georgia.
It's an
No, it's
ESPN
not.
mic.
I'm joking. It's not.
I think I got like a Georgia player's like knee pad or something. I don't know.
He's got his band-aid from the back of his
Yeah.
knee.
Oh,
I think Clemson storming every game is pretty stupid, but
Yes. There's a lot. We don't have time for that.
Hey, what about the video of the guy who took the Ole Miss player's helmet and was wearing it on the field? Like,
How about the dummy that did the backflip off the goalpost and like broke his back? That
Guy was
Yeah.
on something. And last year, some of the LSU fans stole the pylons. That was
Okay, that was stupid of LSU storming the field against Ole Miss last year.
the students wanted to do it. I saw it as a free pass onto the field.
We should never storm the field when we beat Ole Miss.
So no wonder Ole Miss freaking stormed the field. against
Exactly.
LSU.
It was
Yeah,
retaliation.
like
Forgot that-
you're
that we
asking
stormed the
for
field.
it.
Yeah, no. When I was at the game 2 weeks ago, I was like, the guys sitting around us were like, "Oh, should we go on the field?" Because they're about our age, and I was like, "If it makes you feel better, I went on the field last year. Like, go enjoy it. You didn't initiate it. You're not the one that's going to get tased. Like, just take it for what it is. You get to go.
Yeah,
on the
once
field."
like all
I
those
think
people
the
out, they can't do
security
anything.
guards should just let them go. You had the clip of the security guard at Ole Miss decking people.
Hey, let me tell you, it's a
That's
jump at Ole
25.
Miss.
Girl, he decked that girl like just freaking.
Yeah, he
pushed
laid
her
her
straight
out.
out.
Clothesline.
Oh my
Laid her
God.
Like the
out.
best
He was
defense
like,
that
I'm
was
going to
all
take the
night.
easy target.
Yeah.
That's like a 10-foot jump from their student section, by the way.
Yeah, I don't know. I saw it on Twitter, and I just wanted to ask. Seems like we're all in favor. I'm in favor during the right circumstances. Not in the Colorado State.
I'm surprised
so
Ole Miss-
quick fix.
I'm surprised Ole Miss
picks.
doesn't have like freaking steps that lead down. Everybody one by one, everybody file down with all their dresses and suits on, like
Yeah.
on the field. Like that's what it seems like.
All right, quick picks for this week's college football slate. Rattle them off. Auburn, LSU. Tyler, what you
LSU.
got? Wade,
LSU.
Jacob.
LSU.
All right, good answers. I'm not even gonna ask short.
Good answer, Steve.
Ohio State, Purdue.
What?
Do we see an
Fine.
upset?
Ohio State.
Ohio State by 1 billion.
Yeah, they're gonna win.
Okay. Syracuse and Florida State.
Florida
Gotta
State
go
by
with
1
the
billion.
Noles, man.
All right, Florida State by 1 billion. I think Alabama beats Arkansas pretty handedly here. Here's a close one. Potential upset: Massachusetts and Penn State. Penn State's a 43-point
The
favorite.
ribbing of
Why?
Jacob continues.
I think we go it all. I think Penn State. Is that a
Penn
correct pick
State.
there, Jacob?
Yeah, that's great.
Okay, an
That's
actual
great.
pick. Oregon and Washington. Jacob, who do you got?
I've made my pick. I picked the
Washington's
Huskies
a cover,
outright.
right? Okay, Tyler.
Washington. This is where they begin their reign of dominance.
I like it. Freddie.
Not so fast. I'm gonna go with the Ducks, and I don't really know why, but Oregon.
Yeah, give me Oregon. I've seen
Where's your
Bo
duck
Nix
head?
scramble enough.
I don't have a duck head. I got this thing. It's a duck.
There you go.
There you
We'll go
go.
split
Go with the Ducks.
2-2. Oregon and Washington. Texas A&M and Tennessee. Jacob.
Where are they playing?
In Tennessee.
Tennessee.
Tyler.
Give me Rocky Top.
And Wade.
I'm going with Texas A&M. I picked them yesterday on SEC Talk. I think they played pretty well against Alabama, and I think they have something to prove. I don't think they lose 2 close games in a row.
Give me Joe Milton, baby. I met a recruiter from Tennessee. Says he's an asshole. So there's that. Take that with
Okay.
what you will. USC and Notre Dame. We'll let the Big Ten specialist Jacob talk about this one.
I'm gonna go SC, and here's why. Notre Dame's defense didn't prove anything to me this past weekend, and neither has USC. So it's an offensive shootout, and I think USC has the better offense out of the two. They have a dual threat quarterback, and they have what seems to be more weapons. I think all USC has to do is stop the run against Notre Dame, and they should end up winning that game, even though it'll probably be close.
Okay, I like it. Tyler, who do you got? USC
Notre
or-
Dame. It's about time USC falls. They've been getting too lucky. They should have lost last week to Arizona. I think Notre Dame gets it done. I don't really see them falling a back-to-back week, especially in South Bend.
Okay, wait.
Yeah, I'll go with Notre Dame because of the travel factor. I think those fans will be fired up to have this one. I like that it's earlier in the year this year. Gives us something to look forward to here in the midseason.
No, I agree with you there. Give me USC. I'll be the lone Jacob.
Jacob took USC.
Sorry, I'm sorry. 2-2. Oh shit, I probably shouldn't go with Jacob then. No.
First he's invisible, and then when you realize that you
I'll give
agree
you
with him, you
25
wanna switch
strokes
your
next time we play. I'll give you 25 strokes. How about that?
Okay.
Jacob, you're so good at fantasy football, man. I love your team. You should trade me all your players.
Miami, North Carolina. I don't even think we have to ask this one.
No.
Just based on coaching alone. Are we all UNC?
UNC.
Yeah.
It was going to be UNC beforehand anyways, but
Yeah.
definitely UNC.
Especially at home.
Missouri and Kentucky. Tyler?
Give me Big Blue.
Okay. Jacob?
I'll take the Tigers. I think they played a tough team last week, and I think they can bounce back. I think they're a one-loss team right now, and I think that's where they deserve to be.
Okay. Wade, what you got?
I'll go with Kentucky in a bounce back game. I think it'll be very close. These two teams are pretty even talent wise to me, but two different kinds of offenses. I think Ray Davis will run all over Missouri.
I am going with Missouri for this one, and I'm going to pick them in our next segment. But game of the week, let me scroll through what we got. Hawaii, San Diego State, 10 o'clock at night in Hawaii. Who do you got?
It's in Hawaii. I'll go with the Rainbow Warriors.
I'm just going Hawaii because I don't know anything about either team. I was just looking for another game. I noticed there wasn't a late game this week, but they got Hawaii.
South Carolina, Florida.
All right, South Carolina, Florida. Who you got, Wade? You going with your Cocks?
Gamecocks.
All right. Tyler?
Sneaky one. Texas Tech and K-State.
And the balloons again.
The balloons are back. Yeah.
All right, so balloons are ruined, and so will the Gamecocks. I think they get the win.
Oh, yeah, I'm going Gamecocks. What do you think, Jacob? Gamecocks or Florida?
Yeah, I'll take the Cox. I think.
Oh man, Florida's got the
South
easy win.
Carolina screwed.
Nobody picked them
Right.
on SEC Talk either.
Let's go upset picks here. I like that audio there, Tyler. So upset picks, Jacob. Who's your pick this
Don't
week?
no, not me first.
All
Pick
right,
somebody
Tyler.
else.
Who's your pick this week? Start it off.
Oh, I hate to do this to him. This is a team that I love picking every week. But I'm going to go with Mr. Bean and the Kansas Jayhawks. They're on upset alert this week as they go on the road to Stillwater. Oklahoma State actually showed a pulse for once this season. They beat Kansas State. So I think that Kansas going on the road. Oklahoma State is going to upset Kansas, and that should mark off the boxes of Jacob's rules of being this an upset.
Yes, not the favorite.
A true
team
upset.
or ranking.
Yeah, it's actually a true. Hey, and I got UCLA over Washington State last, right? So
there you go. Wade, who you got this week?
All right. I just hinted to this one, and y'all all three disagreed, so I consider it an upset. Texas A&M over Tennessee on the road. Yeah.
All right, I'm going with Missouri over Kentucky. I think they bounce back against Kentucky. Kentucky's kind of a one-dimensional team there. And I think, as you could see from Georgia, they can throw the ball. Missouri can throw the ball damn well. So give me Missouri over the Wildcats. Jacob, or to you, what do you got?
I feel like a jerk for this pick because I just talked about them and I had some sympathy for them. But I'm going to pick Arizona to beat Wazoo on the road.
Okay, Arizona with the late winner or late loss to USC. So I looked at that pick also. We'll see if things get crazy in the Apple. So that kind of, I think that wraps up our college football talk for the week. Isn't that where they play?
The Apple State.
The
They
Apple
don't play
Cup
in
is
NYC.
Washington
Oh,
State.
God.
I knew they didn't play in New York City, but it's called the Apple Cup.
Freaking
I
Reese
call it
Davis
the Apple.
2.0 over here.
I call it the Apple. What's the proper term for Wazoo?
Hey,
Pullman?
Chet,
They play in
the
Pullman.
Commanders play in Washington, D.C., in case you wanted to know.
I know that. But the Washington State, they call it the Apple Cup for a reason. Why do
Yes,
they
the
call
Apple
it that?
State.
Yeah, it's not when they play
Yes,
freaking Arizona.
It's
It's
the
when they play
Apple, the
Washington.
Apple State.
You
What's
got to
wrong
throw the
with
state
that?
in there. And you can't say the App State because that's another college.
Yeah, that's Appalachian State. That's the upset specialist there. All right. Baseball picks before we end the show for the divisional series. Quick picks. Dodgers, Diamondbacks. Wait.
D-backs, baby.
All right, Tyler.
Give me the Snakes.
I'm assuming that's the D-backs.
Yes.
Jacob.
I'm back in the Snake.
Make it 3. They up 3-0 in the top of the 4th right now.
Make
to
it
go
4, baby. D-backs. I think that's a sweep right there.
These are live updated odds.
Yeah, we're getting a head start on
You got to
that.
pick with confidence. It's a best out of 5 series, and one game's already done, and half the next one's already done.
Rangers, Orioles. Wait.
I'm going to stick with the Orioles. I see a lot of people are picking Texas to win the World Series now. I mean, let's not forget this team almost missed the playoffs on the last day of the regular season. So I think they come back down to earth, and the Orioles gut it out.
Okay, Tyler.
I think the Rangers, playoff experience is hurting the Orioles. They do not have it. The Rangers do. So I think that this will be over very soon.
All right. Futchy Whatchy, who you got?
Yeah, battle of pitching here, playoff pitching. Tyler alluded to it. I think it is critical, and Evaldi's going to be on the mound for the Rangers tomorrow, and they will sweep the series. I just think the O's got too far behind too early, and hard to look back and see them winning a game in Texas.
I like the Rangers also because they play about 2 hours from my house.
Fun fact.
And I'm picking them.
The Orioles did not get swept at any point in the regular season all season. So they might lose the series, but I don't think they get swept.
They were hot.
It's hard to believe that Evaldi, who is
if Evaldi's going,
arguably a Cy Young, who's like a 2-time Cy Young winner, is gonna give up something like that. I just don't see it happen.
Houston Astros versus the Minnesota Twins. I'm on the Astros. We all know that. Or do you all agree with me, or are you going with the Twins?
I will agree with you there. I think the experience does come into play. And yeah.
No cheating going on this year. Tyler.
Nope. I will go with Houston.
Jacob. Pick the
I'll be
Twins.
weird. I'm gonna go with the Twins. They're virtually unbeatable at home, and I just think they're a really good baseball team. They are riding high, and I think that they have a lot of momentum. It's momentum
Because they didn't
baseball
have to
is
stress at all during the regular season.
yeah. I mean,
Virtually
momentum
unbeatable
baseball is
doesn't mean 100% unbeatable. Just virtually.
well. They have the offense in. It's weird. They didn't have it all season for the most part, and now they have it, and it's a momentum thing to where I think they can put up the runs, and them playing at home is a tough place to play.
Phillies Braves split 1-1 now. I think Wade and Tyler are picking the Braves, so we'll just let
No,
myself.
I'm gonna
and
go
Jacob-
ahead and pick the Phillies because it's been working to pick against my teams lately. So I will pick the Phillies.
Hey, I'm glad we
Okay.
picked this at the end of the show because now
Yeah,
I can
really.
confidently say the A.
Fudge.
I'm gonna go with the Phils, only because of pitching. Freed didn't show me anything tonight that he could do much of pretty much anything. I mean, the guy had 94 pitches in the fourth inning. That's a struggle, and
How
the
many
Phillies are
pitches does
taking
your
him deep
pitcher
in
have?
counts. What?
How many pitchers does your pitcher have today's game?
Zero. My team's not
Because
in the
the
playoffs.
Boston Red Sox aren't
Neither
in
are
the
the
playoffs.
Yankees.
They
Did
get
you
to go
remember
to
the last
the
time the
friendly
Yankees and the Red
Patriots
Sox?
games.
The Red Sox and the Yankees are not in the playoffs. I don't remember the last time that happened. It was probably
Better hope
60 or
Penn
70
State's in
years
the
ago.
playoff. It's a rough year for you.
It's all right.
Yeah,
I don't
really.
care.
I'm going Braves, just because I don't like the Phillies. So I'm rooting for the Braves on this one. We're gonna save the best for last here with NASCAR Neil. I got his update as the NASCAR season is winding down. AJ Allmendinger, that's a name.
Almendinger.
That's a name right there. Gets the win at Charlotte Roval, continuing his streak in the National Series wins at this track. Kyle Busch ran up front all day in a must-win to advance situation, but ultimately came up short. He raced clean despite being in a position where he could have took some moves to advance. The round of 8 is now set with Byron, Hamlin, Blaney, Reddick, Larson, Bell, Boucher, and Truex. Truex strong regular season saves him again after not finishing better than 15th in any playoff race so far. He has another shot to make the Final Four with Vegas coming up next week. And the 2024 schedule was released. I'm not going to read the update because Neil promised a video update on the 2024 schedule. So we're holding him to it. Neil, send it in. We want to play it at the end of next week's show. NASCAR Neil and Motorsport Matt video update for the NASCAR season. So with that, I appreciate everybody watching. We hope you all have a blessed week and your teams win and make the playoffs, unlike Jacob, and you get better bets and don't lose $2,000 on Wolf Spreads. Jacob, what you got?
2,000 tokens.
Yeah, 2000. Yeah, thank God it ain't dollars. I don't have that kind of money. Side note, congrats to my boys' golf team. Won South State today, going to state at the end of the month. So
Take it home.
Oh,
Bring it
wait.
home.
Congratulations to my beach volleyball team for winning a playoff game, but then losing to the number 1 seed, 21-19. So yeah,
This is going to be a new segment. Congratulations at the end of the show, Tyler. What
Yeah,
do
we
you
need the
got?
balloons. Where's the balloon?
Where's the balloon?
Yeah, where's the
Somebody
balloons?
do the balloon.
Tyler,
Jacob,
what
do
do you got for
something.
congratulations?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm giving a shout out to Tyler.
Tyler, you
Shout out to
survived
my morale.
it. Mine, I'm going to give myself a congratulations because I shot an even par for the first time in my life on 9 holes. I didn't get to play the full 18.
Shout out to your
but
caddy.
Even through 9.
Woo.
Yes, my wife was my caddy, and she's the reason I shot even par. So
He had extra
With that-
motivation.
Exactly. Thank you all for watching and listening. Hit that subscribe button. Leave us a like and a comment. Share it to your friends. Share it to your grandma. She wants to hear us talk fantasy football every week. Everyone have a good one.